Got a little something on my mind I want to talk about just really quick. Thank you all. ISOM issue number one campaign, pre-order campaign. You can still get in on it. 26 days to go. 3.49, almost 3.5 million we are at. Thank you guys so much. And really what I'm going to talk about is centered around that. We always have to update our resume. We always have to repeat ourselves because you got to understand from a creative since there's going to be new people that come to your content. So you got to make sure that they're in on what your positions are. Sometimes it may sound like repeating for the long-time fans, but we get new guys that come around all the time. And though I thank everyone, I want to let people in on what the intentions are. And the reason why I wanted to discuss it, in the last streams that I got a couple of questions about it. And I don't think some of these guys were long time, let's say, followers, meaning they came across the material, yada, yada, and they'll ask me about Marvel or DC or whatever it is that they're doing. And I couldn't be any more clear before that this is not a get rich quick scheme. I'm not in this for one book just to put out, see what happens, make a lot of money and bounce. That's not what I'm interested in. What I want to do is build what my vision, I want to build it out, let's say that. But I want to see it through because there's not just with a content issue that I feel is within comics. There's all sorts of things, even the stuff that we're still learning day to day, that is part of this problem. It's not just this. When I talk about content problems, continuity issues and timelines, and people buy books that are basically meaningless, hard to keep up with, all this multiversal bull crap. I've griped about that. People, of course, the obvious gripe of social views being basically beating you over the head with that sort of content. All that's part of it. But there's also economic, logistic stuff, distribution issues, art from like the contracts, royalties, all that stuff is a problem. And I want to be able to be part of this solution. And what this allows us to do is have a updated model, okay, in how we do business. It keeps up with the times. It is not operating on the old model that the old guard operates on. Nobody really knows why they do it. It's just done just because it's the industry standard that had been set. Hasn't caught up with the internet like so many other industries, hasn't caught up with our capabilities because of the connectivity, that it is that we have. So my interest is not to get rich quick, and it's also not to yet again pivot and beg for like some sort of acknowledgement by way of access media, but more importantly to the old guard. It's not just Marvel, DC, it's the major indies as well. I'm not trying to, hope that they change, right? I'm not trying to, someone asked me jokingly, hey, DC's, they think Zaslav, which I don't agree with. I don't think he's changing them in terms of their political, social views or anything. I think it's just, hey, maybe if there is to be politics involved, I think it's more involved internally. Right. It's a new transfer of power. That's more old material, maybe didn't align with the direction that they want to go in. I'd welcome being wrong on that, but I don't think that I am. Certainly in time, of course, will tell. However, I don't care. I care enough to make fun of it. Let's say that. And I care about the industry in itself. But I am not. When I say I don't care, I'm not looking for DC or Marvel to get back to the top, right? Start actually dominating the industry instead of having Japanese coming through with their stuff. Main entertainment, like in the comic book sense, is being imported from Japan. Like, that's not what I'm talking about. I am talking about, well, let's say this. Even if they did do that, I wouldn't care because I want to be a competitor. This is my lifelong dream that was sped up because the audience came out in full support. I am going to flesh out this universe. I am going to try to put out the best possible material that it is that I can. I am going to, I'm a capitalist. I want to make money, of course. But I also want this to be long standing, and something that maybe even your folks, younger folk that are out there that are watching this, end up growing up on this. What Batman, what all that was to me, hopefully the Rippaverse stuff is that to you. And I'm very serious like that. I'm not speaking in hyperbolic terms or anything. Like, this is legit. So I don't care. This is why I'm doing what I'm doing in the first place. My focus is on my own creative stuff. I want to develop ISOM. I want to develop Yairo. I want to develop the other characters that are being introduced in ISOM #1. I want to give you guys compelling enough material so that you can keep around, right? I give you something to read. I want that to be a part of history and all that, but I also want it to be so intriguing that you look forward for more material. I can't wait for you guys to hear ISOM's story in itself, but it doesn't stop there. We got ISOM 2, 35 pages or so into that. We got other books that we're working on that's going to be put out. That is my primary focus on that. It's awesome to talk and look at the industry because there's always ways to compare and contrast what we're doing versus what these guys are doing. But as far as what's fundamentally wrong, again, it's not just with its content. How they do business is fundamentally wrong, and this is why I like the transparency that we have with our audience. So them turning the ship or anything, I don't care about that. I want to compete. I want to compete with them. I don't care if they run themselves into the absolute ground. Doesn't mean anything to me. Yeah, those stories that we have, old books, they ain't going nowhere. You don't got to burn them. They ain't going nowhere. But, hey, maybe the people that are in control and will be in the future are going to be, let's say, not have your best interests as customers in mind. They don't care for that. So screw them. We do our own thing. So that legitimacy that y'all see that company and those companies and the major indies, that's legitimacy. That perception that you guys have of that, I want to make good enough material so that you reroute that focus on maybe my work. And there'll be others and other creatives. I know that we had a recent argument, or rather debate, with some idiot on stream. And, he talks about creatives, and all that's awesome. But it's not just about the indie creators. In fact, they're secondary. What this really is about is the customers. I'm not trying to impress my peers. I don't care to do that, to be honest, unless that peer is a customer. But I'm not doing stuff to sit up here and, hey, look at us and look at what we're doing. That's what ran the industry into the ground. I don't care about any of that. I want to give material for customers. I want to respect the customers. That I want to value them, and they need to understand that of course, I'm not obligated to your money. I'm not entitled to your money. You do that voluntarily, and I appreciate you, and you should feel some sort of appreciation there. In the age of decentralization, hopefully that's what we get to, where people have direct lines of sight with the people that make these material. And maybe, I don't know, you're not giving money to people that just hate your freaking guts because you didn't vote the way they wanted you to vote, or didn't vote at all, like me. So thank you all for the support. And though I do believe a lot of people that bring this type of thing up, it's like, hey, if DC wanted to hire you to do anything, which they wouldn't do that anyway, but let's hypothetically speaking, to try to help them turn it. No, I wouldn't accept it. Say, hey, not interested, because I'm trying to compete with y'all, and that's what it's about. So this is not a temporary thing. This is something that I'm taking very, very serious. You even have weirdos who want me to go back to like every day doing the show, and we talk about what's going on in the industry. And yeah, I'm gonna of course chime in on this stuff. This is my industry. I care so much about it, but I only have so much time in the day, and a lot of my time is better suited doing creative stuff for my own company, not for them. Okay. And those days are over with me doing those long form things. I know I appreciate everybody, but understand where it is that I'm coming from. I spent a lot of money to make this happen. The audience reassured that this was a great decision for me to make, but the work doesn't stop there. We got a lot of work to do, and we'll continue to do it. I'm serious. We ain't playing around. Yo, I appreciate you as always. And if you're into comics or want to get into them, go visit Rippaverse.com, where you can check out my own comic book company, Rippaverse Publishing. Our first book, ISOM #1, is currently up for pre-order right now. You can also check out the company trailer and the ISOM campaign trailer so that you can make an informed purchase. We've cleared over $3.3 million in sales, and many of our supporters are viewers just like yourselves. And because of that, I have to thank you all personally. I do appreciate you. I can't wait for you to learn more about Isam himself and already fan favorite Yaira. We ship internationally, so no matter what side of the globe you're on, we'd love to have you as a customer. Much love and big thanks.